Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a deadlift day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please remember to click like down below. Be greatly appreciated. All right, today we went with my full competition style deadlift, which means belt, Texas deadlift bar, calibrated steel plates. Built up to 615. This felt pretty heavy today. Not gonna lie, this was a max for today. I don't think this was a training max. This was a little grindy through my sticking point. I'm going to go ahead and call this an actual max. Now, it was a calm max. I didn't get psyched up. I didn't listen to music, didn't have any caffeine first. But I'm not 100% sure I could have gone up another 10, 15 pounds. So it was a max. All right. Afterwards, I went ahead and did assistance work. It's just doing normal deadlifts. I dropped down to 495. Did a triple. Again, fairly challenging work sets with moderately heavy weight here. So this actually felt like I didn't have much more than 3 reps. This was that best of 5 rep max. Okay, so we're in that sweet spot for hitting upper threshold fibers there. Right, we got it on all 3 reps. If that was felt around a 5 rep max for today, for the amount of fatigue after hitting that 615. Dropped down to 455. Cranked out 5 nice clean reps. Now the thing is, this was taxing because I ramped up to a max and then did 2 heavy back down sets. And keeping in mind, for a lot of people, these rep work I did after may be more than their max. It's not uncommon, for guys who even deadlift regularly, this might actually be more than their max if they're not a pretty advanced lifter yet. So it was taxing. It was very taxing. And I felt it mostly all through my back, all the deadlifting today. And I don't mean my lower back necessarily. I felt a lot of mid-back, lats, forearms, grip. But when I went to do my glute ham raises, they started cramping on me. I did 2 sets and my hamstrings were done. Just 2 sets of 10. I did the second set and I didn't have really anything left. I'm like, well, if I try to do more of these, I'm going to be cramping all day. And if I'm cramping on the second set, my hamstrings are cramping up and I know I'm hydrated, I know I got plenty of electrolytes, it's nothing like that, then my hamstrings were just that beat up from those, several heavy sets of deadlifts. That was enough to seriously stimulate them. This, of course, works different angles of the hamstrings than a hip hinge does. So, again, we have more complete hamstring development. And then after that, I just did not glute ham raises, but reverse hyperextensions for the rest of the workout to, again, get that extra volume. And now, if we come up to the question of, well, hamstring work, if we count the deadlifts, it's really only 3 sets, and then 2 sets of this, it's 5 sets enough. It's like, yes, it actually is, particularly given the efficiency of the movements that I selected here. Yeah, absolutely. But we get over to the reverse hyperextensions, and I did 7 sets today. All right, those still work the hamstrings. They work glutes. They work lower back. I feel that they work the glutes and the lower back, the spinal erectors, quite a bit more, and they're a restorative exercise, but they're still hamstring work, and I do those twice a week. So depending on how we count those towards hamstrings, the hamstring volume was pretty decent for the week. It's just that this is a milder exercise than the others. And this is a point that I made when I switched back over to doing training like this, where I'm going to do conjugate and then do a little volume on the classic lifts and run 4 max effort days. We're getting substantial hypertrophy. And I want to be very, very clear from that given the workloads I'm working with, I could probably do the first 2 exercises and go home. Well, I'm already home. But I can walk back inside. How's that? The squat, bench, deadlift, and pull-up volume is actually enough to see significant muscle growth before I do the accessory work. And it's because these exercises are big, they work so many muscles, and I'm taking them, pretty far, because we're going up to the training max or true max, and then we're doing rep work. Well, what does the data on this show? Well, the research shows that hitting a heavy single above 90% improves the efficiency of the later rep work. right? Performance improves, neural drive improves, muscle fiber recruitment improves. So hypothetically, we may get more out of each set. And because these exercises work so many major muscle groups, the training stimulus is significant. Even though the volume of those movements itself might be modest. Again, people overestimate how much work they think they need to grow, instead of looking at what research shows. We have this idea that even for more advanced lifters, they have to do ultra high volume to see any gains. No. The ultra high volume is being done hoping for a very, very small increase. It's not to see any. It's to hopefully see slightly more by having optimal training volumes. The volumes needed to stimulate hypertrophy are much lower than what we think of as our optimal volumes. That 10 to 20 set range is trying to get as much as possible. You can do less than that. We can do significantly less than that and see some muscle growth, or in some cases very, very robust muscle growth, if the work is hard enough. Well, taking things like squat, bench, deadlift, or pull-ups, to within a couple reps of failure is pretty hard. And it's not just my opinion on this. People can say, well, that's only maybe for novice lifters. No, these are studies that have been done on more advanced lifters. People with several years of consistent training, oftentimes people with a reasonable strength base, minimum strength base is looked at. So it's simply not true that that's only in novice lifters. Okay? And you have to factor in, as we get advanced, have high neural drive, we can generate a lot of tonnage per set, on a set per set basis once we start doing rep work. It's a totally different animal. And it's easier for us to reach levels of training volume that we can't recover from. So in this case, by doing this, by focusing on the handful of big movements after doing a max and then pushing them for a little volume, we're getting an enormous amount of growth. And then afterwards, we do all the pump work, and we think through, and this is, well, by we, I mean me, think through the amounts that we need, where are our weakest links, which muscles need a little extra stimulus to either improve these big lifts or that aren't being hit by these bigger lifts. And we come in and work those things. So in this case, the deadlift day, I'm doing extra posterior chain work in the form of glute ham raises and reverse hyperextensions. Okay. And so that's what I'm doing. And once the reverse hypers are added in, the volume of this workout goes up significantly. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.